Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another Lost Bits video right here on TetraBitGaming, the series where we explore some noteworthy scrapped, unused, and unseen content in video games. Time sure flies, and in a few months the Lost Bits series will be turning 2 years old. The series has grown and evolved over the years from its humble beginning, and rewatching some of my older videos I realized that there was quite a few things that I neglected to mention or explore. One of these games was Super Mario Sunshine. As such, in this video I will be doing a sort of sequel to the first Super Mario Sunshine Lost Bits. Thankfully, I won't be exploring more Super Mario Sunshine alone, as I've enlisted the help of the virtuoso of both glitches and Easter eggs, DPadGamer.
Hey there, can you feel the sunshine? I sure hope so, because after exploring some Lost Bits, be sure to check out my newest video in which Tetra and I explore a bunch of awesome glitches in Super Mario Sunshine as well.
As always, really quickly before we begin, if at any point you guys do enjoy the video, please be sure to slap a like down below. It seriously helps the channel out a lot. And without any further delays, go grab your Flash Liquidizer Ultra Dowsing device. It is time to find some more Lost Bits. Alrighty, let's start things off with unused objects and an unseen thing that many of you asked why I didn't include it in the first video. So I already covered the unused Tramplin Stew or Hinokuri enemy before, but there is also another unused and unseen enemy found below Pinna Park. By looking just under the clam ride, a 2D almost Yoshi's Island styled Goomba named Cug can be found. This interestingly styled Goomba was used as a test character likely for a collision. He is even referred to in the game's entries as typical enemy, test enemy, and simply just Goomba. Apparently Cug shocks Mario when he is jumped on too. I guess the developers of the game must have just forgotten to remove him from the level before release.
Similar to the Cug drawing, there are also 3 unused texture animations for the drawing that spawns Strollin' Stews in the game. In addition to this texture that you normally see in the game, there are 3 others which were meant to be seen when the drawing takes damage, gets angry, and dies. None of these ended up being used in the final product, and the drawing just disappears when sprayed instead. Definitely took some charm out on that one. There is also another very early version of the Stew Generator left over in the game files. Like, super early version, like literally just a poorly drawn ring early. It is named similarly to the Stew Generator and was likely left in the game by accident.
Keeping up with the 2D texture theme, there are also 2 unseen Yoshi eggs found in the game's files. They are both referred to as a Yoshi Egg Generator. The green one is named Gene Egg Model 1, while the purple one is named Bad Gene Egg Model 1, suggesting that there might have been some sort of Yoshi breeding aspect in the game at some point. The eggs both use the same animation in which the egg distorts, as I guess it would be generating an egg. These eggs are apparently called in various scenes throughout the game, such as in Rico Harbor and Pinna Park, but they ultimately are never seen.
I hope you guys like Marble, because there is an unused marble texture hemisphere hidden amongst the files for the boss fight on Corona Mountain. Although the ball is very small, the texture for the marble is a whole 512 by 512 pixels, making it the largest file size in its location. As usual, your guess as to what it was for is as good as mine. An unused animation for the opening of the doors for Pinna Park can also be found. In the final game, the doors are either seen fully opened or closed, meaning this animation was never used or seen.
There are also 2 types of unused blocks meant for the file select menu. The first one, File Load Block No Card, as the name suggests, was initially planned to be used in place of the A, B, and C file blocks if no memory card were to be inserted into the Gamecube. However, in the final game, the file select menu remains the same regardless if a memory card is used or not, and as such we never get to see these blocks.
The other unused block is a dark brown brick block. This block uses the same animations as the other file select blocks, so is very likely to have been used there as well for some unknown reason, perhaps to delete or remove a file or something. Now here's a very questionable unused object that is quite surprising to be found in the files of a Nintendo game, let alone a Mario game. This file is found amongst the other files for Gelato Beach, and can be read as either Sand Bomb Base's Hit or Sand Bomb Base Shit? Judging by the shape of the model, and other files are similarly named Sand Bomb Base Pyramid, it was likely the latter. It goes without saying that whoever named this file probably didn't expect anyone to ever actually see it. I wonder though, does this mean emojis are canon in the Mario universe?
Next up is an unused Yoshi head object that I believe was discovered by Beta64 in a stream he did a while ago, so shoutouts to him. This low poly Yoshi head with his tongue sticking out is found amongst the other nozzle types for Flood. This is weird because A, green Yoshis don't normally appear in this game, and B, this suggests that you could literally have a Yoshi head as a Flood nozzle. Although there aren't any more test maps to discover, there were quite a few things in the one I covered in the last video that I didn't even realize were normally unused. First of all is this ice cream cart that a number of you have commented about. It actually made a short appearance in the Space World 2001 trailer for the game, but it is unseen normally. In addition to the yummy looking gelato, this cart has a functioning canopy which can be used as a trampoline to fling Mario upward. It also has a rather large handle which, although it can't be used, suggests that at maybe one point either Mario or another NPC would be pushing this cart around.
Similarly, in the last video, Tetra showed off the unused soccer ball that Mario can kick around the test map. But it appears that this ball was also programmed with the intention of being kicked into an unused cardboard box internally named Soccer Goal Model. An animation for this box after the ball would be kicked in also exists where the box closes up and spins around. Although this exact feature doesn't make its way into the final game, a similar concept of kicking fruit into the baskets does, and it was likely derived from this early design with the soccer ball.
Another unused object in the test map is this here oil drum simply named Drum Can Model. These drums were apparently likely to have been used in an early version of Rico Harbor. There is also a higher poly version of this drum named Drum Can Crash Model, which is complete with an animation. And lastly, there are these unused rock blocks which are scattered in different sizes throughout the test level, but they all have the same animation as they crumble when ground pounded.
Okay, unused objects are neat and all, but you know what's even more exciting? Unused pollution maps! Yeah, these are the files which outline where the goop is to be laid out in each level. Most of the unused maps are pretty basic or lame, so we'll just focus on the more interesting ones. Since we were just talking about the test level, let's take a look at its pollution map, which isn't used anywhere else. When taking a look from afar, you can make out what appears to be both a strolling Stu and trampling Stu running around. The next unused pollution map might look familiar, and it should, because it is in the shape of Cug the Goomba, which we discussed earlier.
There is another unused pollution map intended to be used in an early version of Bianco Hills. This one seems to feature a Goomba, possibly Cug again, and a piranha plant, both being attacked or possessed by some creepy looking spirit thing. Maybe this is supposed to symbolize Shadow Mario, and it really has more to do with the Super Mario Sunshine story than we think. Next is an unused pollution map for the underwater part of Noki Bay. But water washes away the goop, so how could it be underwater, you might be asking? Well, that's also what someone else was probably thinking when they were reviewing the concept of this pollution map, as the word stupid can be seen written in the top left of this map. And making yet another appearance, this time as an unused pollution map meant for Serena Beach, is none other than ya boy, Cug. Really makes you wonder why they would reuse an asset so much in development but never end up using it in the final product. Lastly, there are several unused placeholder pollution maps with just numbers drawn on them, depicting the amount of square pixels in each one.
Now let's take some time to appreciate some of the unused music and audio files for this game. The only unused songs in this game are variations of other songs in which Yoshi Drums are added. The Yoshi Drums can normally be heard whenever Mario rides a Yoshi. However, in Casino Delfino, Noki Bay, and the Secret Courses, the Yoshi Drums are normally not heard because you never actually ride a Yoshi in these areas. Let's have a quick listen. There is also another unused track with the Yoshi Drums for the Pianta Village festivities, where you can ride a Yoshi, but even then, the track is unused.
Three scrapped audio clips of Mario talking are also left unused. The first one is of Mario saying ciao, which is both an informal Italian word for greeting and for parting.
Ciao!
This clip was meant to be used for the intro when the game is turned on, as this clip is found in the sound bank for that sequence, but it ultimately goes unused for whatever reason. The next two clips are of Mario interacting with doors, likely the ones in Hotel Delfino. In the first clip, Mario asks,
Another door?
in a seemingly annoyed way. And in the last clip, Mario channels his inner Tommy Wiseau and proclaims,
Hello, door.
Hi, doggy.
Super Mario Sunshine also contains some interesting placeholder text in the files of the international versions of the game. Two notable ones actually reference some real-life songs. The first one labeled in the game as Message Board 1 is a set of lyrics from the 1928 smash hit I Wanna Be Loved by You, as originally performed by Helen Kane, and eventually later by others including Frank Sinatra and Marilyn Monroe.
The other notable placeholder texts are in reference to Benny King's song, Stand By Me. The texts say, Stand By Me and When the Night Has Come. And speaking of unused text, there are 2 unused awesome high quality graphics files in the most awesome font spelling out Nintendo Gamecube as well as push start. These were likely placeholders for very early iterations of both the startup and title screens respectively, but honestly I think these graphics would have been much better than what we got in the final product.
And just before we get to the last segment, there are 2 gameplay features that go unused in the game. The first is some sort of goop effect that would leave Mario covered in goop. This effect was seen in early footage of the game and can still be used in-game with some G-codes, but its true purpose/use is still a mystery. The second feature is an unused health bar that would appear over Shadow Mario during the fights with him. Again, this function can be loaded into the game with a few tweaks.
And for the last stop of this video, we'll be moving the camera around to have a look at some stuff normally unseen. There are other channels out there which cover stuff like close-ups of other low poly stages visible in the distance and zoom outs, so I'll be skipping over those in this video. Anyways, first let's go back to another thing I covered in the original Sunshine Lost bits, the hidden book in the red coins in a bottle stage. By moving the camera through the door, we can now get a much better look at this book, which is famous for its many rumors. There are also a few things hidden away where we can't normally see them. We already mentioned Cug earlier, and he was probably the most well-known example of this. Another pretty well-known hidden object that you can't normally see is a lone banana bunch that can be found way up high over Pinna Park. I guess don't try this at home because it looks like Mario sustained some pretty gruesome injuries trying to get here. As you can see, this banana is really high up and it really only appears if Mario gets close to it, and only on the 4th episode of the stage as far as I know. I guess it was either forgotten up here by the developers or it's stored up here to be called somewhere else in the map at some point. When I was younger, I used to wonder what the drain tunnels that Mario can ground pound into might look like. Unfortunately, when moving the camera, it looks like these tunnels are nothing more than the silhouettes that you can normally see. Not even any coins you collect here can be seen either. A little bit disappointing, I'm not gonna lie.
Back at Delfino Plaza, after collecting at least 10 shine sprites, and just before unlocking Pinna Park, you might notice that one of the toads is missing. Well, it turns out that he decided to go for a break, under the map. By utilizing a glitch, you can get under Delfino Plaza and find him. It seems like the developers just forgot him down here. If only people took better care of toads. Yet another unseen object can be found, but this time in Bianco Hills. Again, only in certain episodes of the stage, a mysterious 12th tree can be found inside this hill. It looks and acts just like the other 11 trees, I mean, it's a tree, but it's quite far away from them. Normally, I'd say a developer just forgot it there, but since it's only here in certain episodes, it raises a few more unanswered questions.
Speaking of airplanes, ever looked up in Pinna Park and wondered what that plane leaving super mushroom-laced chemtrails looks like up close? Well, seems like that plane is actually only some sort of weird distorted polygon, but I guess the developers never thought we would be able to look at it so closely, now did they? Another cool thing I came across were a few invisible duplicate areas found directly above where you think they would normally be. For example, we can visit this Pianta and his boxes here in Delfino Plaza. If we moonjump straight up from that exact room, we can again find this exact same Pianta, who is interactable in the same way, and even all of his boxes are present here as well. This can similarly be seen with the raccoons in Delfino Plaza too. Well, it turns out that these aren't really duplicates at all, as these high up areas are actually where Mario gets teleported to when he enters either of these rooms. This can be better seen by moving the camera back a bit, and then as soon as Mario enters the room, we can see he gets beamed up, leaving an invisible Delfino Plaza behind.
So basically, the game stores these rooms high above Delfino Plaza and only uses them when needed. By moonjumping to these rooms instead of entering them normally, the game doesn't register that Mario has actually teleported here, so the game doesn't load any of the textures that are necessary. You will find, however, that all of the collision detection for these rooms are still present and just the same as it would be as if you were in these rooms normally.
A similar case can also be found if you return to the Delfino airstrip later in the game. An invisible duplicate of the inside of the waiting room can also be found above the normal one. This duplicate has 2 coins and 2 Soren stews. This case is also a little bit more strange because this waiting room isn't a separate room Mario teleports to like the others were in Delfino Plaza. So I'm guessing that since this duplicate exists, maybe the waiting room once served a bigger purpose. Now I couldn't figure out how to get this visible, but apparently if all the textures are loaded for the duplicate version, it has even more detail than in the one we see in the game, as it features more objects like paper planes, a passport stamp, and more. This basically only reinforces that this room likely played a much bigger role in the game at some point in development, but that role was scrapped in favor of just housing a single blue coin. And with that concludes this series of Lost Bits for Super Mario Sunshine, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Well, I guess there was a lot of stuff discovered since the last video, and I'm sure I missed lots more, so who knows, maybe a part 3 will be in order someday. Shoutouts to all of those who discovered many of these awesome secrets, as well as a special thanks to DPadGamer for helping me out today.
Thanks for having me, Tetra. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to head right over to my latest video featuring Tetra and I showcasing a bunch of cool glitches in Super Mario Sunshine. I'm sure you'll like that one too.
And if you would like to stay up to date with me and this channel, be sure to subscribe, follow me on all of my other social media sites, and also join my new Discord server as well. Links to all of those will be in the description below. And as always guys, thank you all so much for watching today and for all of your amazing support, and I will see you in a bit.